defensive tools used there. Uh-oh. Is my prediction going to come true, G-Cup? Is it going to be the BOE Sky Temple Cursed Hollow fastest 3-0 of Part 2 of Phase 1? Could be. Because
Well, the only other possible way was Game 2 Cursed Hollow and Game 3 Sky Temple.
yes, okay, but I said it this way, all right?
Okay, I will follow you, Wolf. It's Friday.
But the BOE pick is just you giving KSV Black what they wanted, their highest win rate map this season, their best map for Hanzo, which they've shown a massive priority for. The Tracer ban didn't do much on the side of Feliz the previous set. They went into the Dahaka pick, so lost the solo matchup. So let's talk about everything that happened in that game. They lost the wall because Genji wasn't giving pressure in the wall anymore. Or sorry, in the quad lane. He killed the fountain after trying to harass the top lane. So he wasn't winning the top matchup because he was killing the well. He wasn't harassing the bottom, so they lost the wall. And then he did go up to harass at the top, failed, and then came down late to try to contest the camp, which meant that they were not there in time. So then for the rest of the game, KSV Black won every immortal full shields. And I'm not saying this is just because he went for the healing fountain, but the momentum was given there. The experience lead was given, etc. Every immortal was full shields. They didn't have poke, and they were never able to put pressure on with the Genji because he didn't have his heroic. They never were able to threaten the top lane because they were too pressured bottom. Genji couldn't go up there anymore, so the top lane was always being won by Kyocha. It was just an outclassing in every way, but part of it comes down to the fact that they picked the Dahaka into this comp instead of running something that could at least better deal with the Blaze, at least have better race on the Immortals, better look for a team fight. And they also did this against Hanzo by Rich. They left that open for him, and they let him run that comp. They chose the Genji over it. There was just, I feel like, if I'm honest, especially given that they picked this map in the first place, I don't think Feliz prepared very well for the series.
You angry, Wolf? Okay, let's just let that one pass.
All
okay?
right, I'll let it go.
It's game 2, and I also want to talk about the Dahaka and how it should have been worked. But let's just let that one go. It's Sky Temple, everyone, as we have that in English right now. And same my ban. I don't think Feliz is actually super ready for that hero pick.
I mean, I feel like it's still very strong even with the nerfs, just because of the impact to what the.
But they have been even when they had the first pick, they have been banning Maiev from the very beginning, all the time. I just think their team comp just does not work perfectly. Maybe they're just not ready for that pick.
I mean, you might be right. I still think it's strong either way, but yeah, I mean, if it's strong and you're not ready for it, then you definitely got to ban it. KSV Black's gonna make the adjustment to ban the Genji. Tell me you learned, Feliz. Pick that Hanzo. Tell me you learned. No.
They really like that Malfurion because you want to pair up with the Tracer. You want to hint KSV Black. But oftentimes, when that was taken away or banned, they were in trouble. I'm pretty sure their second rotation will be just Tracer with a tank that they want. But here comes...
Here's
finally, Noblesse said yes to Rich's Medivh.
This is the most interesting thing because I would have expected Uther Hanzo here every day except today. And the only reason I say except today is because we saw that Medivh first ban earlier. This is already teaching us something about what KSV Black thinks about this meta. Because even though Feliz is not known for running Medivh, and even though Medivh has still been a fairly niche pick here in Korea, Feliz, you would think you'd be concerned about the Tracer follow-up pick like you mentioned earlier. They still prioritize the Medivh, and they prioritize it over the Hanzo pick. Which means that KSV Black thinks that Medivh is the new hot. Medivh is the new hero to be afraid of. Obviously not as viable on BOE, not a comp they would want to run themselves, but they banned it for fear of its impact on the game. Feliz now has to make the choice. They still want to run the Tracer into a Medivh that can mitigate every pulse bomb if it's timed correctly. I know a lot of people, whenever I said like, well, it's not always going to happen. Well, it happened every time last time. This is what I wanted to see. This is the adjustment. This is what is required. The Hanzo pick is very much stronger against the Medivh because the shields can only burn through a few auto attacks, but after that, Hanzo can still do that consistent damage.
That's right, and OJ's Moradin has been so consistent compared to all these other tank picks. So I am feeling it right now, Feliz. Of course, not taking your word, but adjusting in the middle of the game, taking Hanzo, taking their favorite Malfury, and I think they're really bringing everything together. This Sky Temple, of course, Medivh was something else that they have possibly have been thinking, so they can't really bring that Tracer, as you mentioned. Will be countered super hard against that Force of Will.
Sonya had some changes, by the way, just to point them out really quick. Some of her cooldown reductions from her rework got nerfed by like about 20% or, you know, 1 second instead of 2 seconds, things like that, or 0.75 seconds instead of 1 second. It will be the Junkrat ban, though.
I think the way that they're considering Junkrat ban, because they want to have a Medivh around comp. They want to have a comp that stays together, make sure everyone gets the protection when you're around the target. I think they're trying to stay together, so Junkrat, if they mine someone, it would be like a counter to that protection, AoE. So I think that's the line of thinking where KSV is heading towards right now.
Yeah, not to mention that obviously Junkrat's auto attacks and his Q are AoE damage. So if you pick that into Medivh after the shield is worn off, you're in that location where you're all grouped up, you can take a lot of damage. Obviously, if you time your shields perfectly during the burst, you know, it depends on how that works out, but you can mitigate a lot of that. Sonya left open, they instantly take it with the Rhaegar. And this leads me to believe we're about to see a very strong solo range DPS that you would normally see with double support. Something like maybe a Vala, or what they would really like is the Hanzo, of course, but it was taken away. And I'm wondering what that's going to be. Cassia is also an opportunity. It's a strong pick against the Hanzo. Not a strong pick for the map, but strong pick against the Hanzo.
Also, I think Vala makes better sense, because you need to finish up with the dive. You need to coordinate along with the team. But if you pick that Vala, it's really hard for Medivh to protect Sonya and Vala at the same time. I think what they're thinking is make sure Sonya goes in, gets all that heal and the frontline damage along with the melee and the protection. If Vala is in a dangerous situation, if Vala is the one to be protected, that Sonya will also be in the threat. So I don't think Vala is the option. Let's see what other DPS they're thinking.
Another one, Greymane would be another choice they could have grabbed. But they are going to go for the Cassia. I like this. Well, the Greymane makes the Cassia pick so obvious, right? You can literally blind both DPSs if you hit them both. You can remove all their damage. You have essentially two supports. You have Rhaegar and Medivh, can mitigate all sorts of burst damage, can sort of help against Hanzo's sustained damage. And you have this blind that prevents both members of their side from doing damage. You have the ability with your trait to absorb a lot of those auto attacks coming through from Greymane and Hanzo. So the Cassia pick is just so strong here. And I'm not sold on the KSV Black composition as being powerful or broken yet. It feels like they really prioritize the Medivh, and everything else has been kind of a reactionary pick, especially the Cassia at the end. I don't think they're locked in Medivh going, oh, we've got this sick Cassia comp nobody knows about. It's very much reactionary. And it's smart.
It's very smart, and we saw the Sonya and Medivh pair up working very well.
Reset on Medivh, by the way.
Aha. I'm not referring to Hearthstone.
Not a huge surprise, given that Rich is the DPS technically, and as they would call it, sub-dealer or sub-DPS.
And back in 2017, Rich was the one that played Medivh when every time they picked it. I think almost every time, even back in 2016.
Yeah, and Medivh was also considered to be the melee or the solo laner in terms of role by every team. So with like very few exceptions, like Overlord, who was known as Sans back then, would play it, but almost every melee in Korea played the Medivh. So it made sense role-wise. Now that Rich is no longer that role, it makes more sense that Reset will flex to it. The lane setup obviously is going to be with Sonya in the top lane, crushing currently versus the Dahaka, but we'll see if there are some gank attempts. Problem with trying to gank is that Reset's got his eye out for you. Here's the gank I was talking about. Very common gank in Korea since 2015, and actually it might just kill Gyocha. Nearly does. every time you pick a Muradin into a Sonya, Sonya almost every time wins every lane except the match with Thrall back in the day. So you let the Sonya win the lane, then you do a Muradin gank attempt, and sometimes you get the kill. It's been a common thing forever. And this is no exception.
We've been focusing on KSV Black's strat and how they rotate a lot. Well, let's go back to Feliz though. They got their favorites, Aimer's favorite by far ever since he was in the competitive scene, Greymane. OJ's got his favorite Muradin, and Hanaton, as a passive player, of course, he's not maximizing his Dehaka profits as a team member, but still very safe player. So they got their favorite picks, comfort picks on this map. Of course, they're against KSV Black, but I think still a lot better of a draft compared to game 1 though.
Yeah, it's very reactionary, especially the Hanzo pick. It's so powerful against Medivh compared to some of the more bursty picks we see from this team. Just waiting for that lock-in on Muradin. Okay, just going down the normal build. Just seeing if you picked anything unusual to see if this was like a pick we haven't seen yet that we don't understand, but it's just a Muradin pick, just a old school style.
So let's see in terms of rotations. Camp timing, Black is actually waiting slightly. Maybe waiting for that rotation or the wave clear from Kyocha to maximize your own push. Seems like they want to make a kill or make at least push into the wall. As 5 men from KSV, except for Medivh actually.
Yeah, staying bottom to deal with the Hanzo. They win the trade in the night camps. So, oh god, OJ is locked down here. It's gonna get body blocked as well. Rich can just body block without taking a lot of damage. Toss it in that Fen. But the night camp win here and the trade win with 4v3 means that sure, they lost some experience mid, but they're gonna be able to crush this wall and control this top shrine, which is clearly their objective. Again, losing some experience, but Medivh rotates mid, so he's not losing too much down there.
This is
Hanzo
exactly
being missing is a big problem.
Exactly what you did, Feliz. They got the camp earlier, but they just let that through. Not really getting any structure damage actually, but Black, after the big lane changes for the Heroes of Stone, Black understanding the changes, they have been actually pressuring, and they got a lot more EXP done from that top lane. That's why they're leading slightly into the game.
I'm glad you mentioned the changes to turrets because Frankel is definitely in trouble. Good angle to get out there. Actually might just barely make it. Slow there coming from Sake. You know, I think he gets out.
20.
But
okay.
What happens if the arrow lands in the middle?
Maybe it goes
okay, he does get to take it out here. But the other thing that's important about this that I just noticed after you pointed it out is that Medivh is going to pick up the minions and all the waves. And you could actually just have Medivh fly between bottom and mid to get experience, because in the past if you did that you'd end up losing a lot of damage because you lose ammo. But on, you know, the gameplay, after the gameplay changes, or, you know, as we jokingly call sometimes Heroes 3.0, after that patch, you don't lose ammo, so he could just sit there and grab the experience. As the minions die to the turrets, they're always going to be dying, so he doesn't even have to get out of Raven form to just soak that experience, and he's successful. So, good understanding, like you said, of the new changes and how to macro. They're going to 4-man rotate down to this camp.
But this is still very risky from KSV. Dehaka can come in anytime. Sonya's joining the fight now.
Cleanse early here, coming out from Rhaegar. Sonya is coming, but very late.
Misses the drag onto Tis. May not be a kill now since he missed that CC.
OJ trying to body block. Successful body block. Finally, Feliz is going to pick up a kill, but it will be traded here. Protection coming through a portal for Rich, but he's just not able to right-click it. Just one hex too far to the right there on that portal. Kyocha decided not to come down after they lost the fight. He's just simply going to make this a trade for the fort. Because he is Sonya, he actually successfully does so. So even though Feliz wins this fight, gets 2 kills, and is able to take this wall out, Sonya gets an entire fort because of the damage from that shrine earlier. Will be respawns coming through. Their head back bottom.
It's a big trade, but they got their golems. It was invaded, but it was not stolen, and they got some push on the bottom lane. That's what they needed to do for the next tempo phase. I don't think they got the healing wall over even close to the shield. And they're not even 10 yet, but still there was a good push from Feliz. They've been losing everything since game 1. I think this is a start where they can actually come back into game 2.
Completely agree. There are certain opportunities they have now. For example, trying to take a fight here while Sonya's being greedy, trying to grab a lot of experience, even though they already have 10. They can try to collapse down and make a fight happen with the Haka. I think he's looking for a brush stock here. If they can get a pick onto any member, they win this shrine, they get back into the game, send the Haka back top. It was too passive though, so Sonya got a lot of extra greedy soak mid, and they didn't collapse down. Trying to use him to get more experience right now, with both teams being 10, taking in the surprising fight might have been the better option. KSV posturing to push everybody away, and Feliz just isn't going to pull the trigger. They're looking for the experience lead, they're looking for direct damage by Dahaka, and they will get that, but the trade-off is going to be quite high. Here comes Dahaka, but it's too late. Look at that portal, even with the isolation here.
Perfectly landed, and Hanatson got some CC, but no damage follow-up as the Polybomb will just spread across now.
They're using the tosses from Garrosh to make sure it spreads as well. KSV going to commit further, and Kyoja instantly gets stunned there out of the portal. That was a huge mistake. Big oversight there. Overconfidence on the side of KSV Black.
All the members of Feliz were not too low, and also the UCC was coming back up very soon. That Entangle was not used for a long time. I think Black just got way too excited at the moment. And now we're back in game. Very close. Feliz got the last 5 shots actually. Of course, they lost the fort, but level not too far apart. And KSV Black, they were really making that poly work in the team fight. If that didn't happen, I think Feliz could have got a member off actually.
Yeah, it could have been. The fantastic coordination there from Reset to save Rhaegar when the, or not Rhaegar, I believe it was actually Sonya, when the isolation came through and all that extra damage, the portal comes through, still get the Ancestral off. That was pretty well done. I think it was a Sonya. I don't remember exactly which member it was, but everything happened so fast, but it was a really quick reaction there. Either way, KSV Black's just going to make a 5-man rotation up here to grab this fort, and also to try to grab the Night Camp. This is again greedy.
Great chance for Feliz.
Polybomb though. Liu doesn't have Ice Pluck. Sub 13.
And this rotation is a signature move from KSV. They always bait it out with 1 or 2 members on top lane. Seems like they want to push the lane, and then the other 3 members climb up from the camp side. Not just on this map, but in Spider Queen and especially in Dragonshire too.
So they can win this fight, grab the Night Camp, able to now go into the keep wall.
Rip that Hanzo.
Our Hanzo, their Hanzo. Probably what Feliz is feeling right now, that image that goes around the internet sometimes. Alright, Portal here to look for a side engage. Unfortunately unsuccessful. Portal's going to be on a cooldown here now, but Feliz just doesn't have any tools to really do damage. They went Wiz and Duelist. Polybomb here going to continue to spread, so Aimer needs to use Eyes in the Dark to get out. This is going to be a keep, and they can just portal out.
Finally got the Master Stack. Finished. OJ diving in there, 13. They want to make an engage. The Haka is coming from. Gets that grab at Cleanse. Nice lead onto Rich. Survives in isolation. Really not finding the best target.
Circle of protection here, getting some extra value. Tranquility is just not going to be enough healing to save OJ from going down. Good hook here onto Kyocha means he's going to have his 2nd death of the game. Aimer goes for the throat quite literally there. Will grab the trading kill. So 3 dead on the side of KSV Black. But that keep is never going to respawn. And that's just how Heroes goes, man. You can punish, but you need to get value out of the punish. And because the death timers are still so low, they can only keep at 10 minutes, or sub 10 minutes even, I should say. So the death timers are so low that even though this boss is going to get taken, they're already setting up to contest. Look at how they're handling the bot lane. Prepping a huge wave of minions to help contest the boss. They're all going to go down there. They're all going to crush it quickly. This boss may not even get the full keep wall because it's a 10-minute boss. So KSV Black still maintains macro control. Look at the top waves pushing. Now I like that Feliz is actually going to take a boss and throw it away and just grab double temple. That's the best thing they could do right now.
Because they need to catch up in the structure and level. Because once you try to make an engage, KSV Black will be hitting that 16 mark very soon.
Oh, you know what?
They're
KSV is just going to ignore the boss. They're going in. They want to kill a Muradin. This is part of the reason why Muradin's picked on this map, by the way, because there's a Muradin jump spot.
Muradin Bush, as we like to call it.
All right. There's the taunt, though. Protection so this W doesn't do anything. Alright, they get the kill. They're going to be able to steal the last part of this temple. The boss, because it's a 10-minute boss, doesn't kill the keep. I think probably pretty heavily damaged the wall, but they prepped the wave for it. Now KSV going straight to keep walls for every shot of every temple for the rest of the game. Not to mention that Feliz is off the map because they had to deal with that top catapult push. Knowing that it was a 10-minute boss and reacting actually very calmly there, KSV Black just completely ignoring it. Whereas other teams, and myself included, would have made the decision to just crush the boss, cut the losses there, and then just set up for the next temple fight. They were willing to look for a kill, look for a pick, and secure that last fort. Very well played. Very snap, quick decision-making from KSV.
Seems like they're pressuring into top lane, which means they want to work on that wave pressure so they get their chance to actually invade into the camp or go around the other side. There's not really much of a thing that you can do right now unless you want to go super hard engage and go in force a team fight and then finish the game. But I don't think you need to risk that much as KSV Black or even Feliz right now, as the macro is kind of settled. You just want to work with that wave pressure onto top lane.
Feliz is probably actually just looking for some extra soak. Like Dahaka, if they can stay the same level and, as you say, just kind of fight on even terms minus the macro, that's how they win this game, is just to get a team wipe and just go kill the keep and win the game. But if they decide to try to force a fight, try to make something happen before that, or if anyone gets picked because they're being greedy, then the opposite could happen to them, because KSV Black already has the wall open. Even if they get 2 kills, it could be game. Feliz need to get a wipe if they want to win this. If they want to trade even on these temples, they can do that, but the only problem with that is that you're basically delaying the inevitable, because they're going to get a second keep. You're only going to get 1, maybe. And then you're going to have even bigger macro problems when the boss comes up in about a minute and a half. So Feliz going to have some tough decisions to make here. The problem is, another one, I keep saying the problem is, but another problem is that they're being watched by Reset constantly. They can't sneak a play. They can't have any sort of clever approach. Everything is known all the time with this Medivh pick.
Oh, let's see. OJ Ivan already popped that avatar in the front line, all protected, but gets that stun. Let's see, Hannes comes into isolation.
Oh,
Ancestral,
that Ancestral. So well done. Okay, another protection here coming through. OJ's gone. That's their main, you know, tank line, so they don't really have any other way to peel now, so they just have to simply give this fight up. And unfortunately, that's the pick they lost. That means that KSV can now control this fight. However, they can try to continue to soak, because the top wave is safe because it's constantly pushed towards their core. That's a safe wave to soak, and they could just try to mitigate the time between 20. But if they lose both temples, they're going to lose another keep, like I was saying earlier. I like the idea for the fight. Force a fight when you're both at level 18. Force a fight before KSV Black has 20 before the macro advantage they have goes out of hand. But the defensive coordination was too good.
Feliz was having a hard time in a similar way because they had Dehaka also in game 1. Dehaka comes in at a great spot and finds that CC, but oftentimes there was no follow-up. Because KSV makes it so hard for them to dive in. And this time they're protected. Why dive in? They're doing no damage. And the timing of that Medivh Force of Will coming down makes the Dehaka pick just useless joining into the fight.
And can we talk about Sake for a second? 2 of his Ancestrals have been perfect this game. And had they not connected, we might have had a 1-for-1 trade that leads to a team fight win for Feliz, especially on that last fight where it was Medivh. If Medivh goes down, no more protection means that they've lost basically the majority of their damage mitigation for this composition that Feliz has, minus the blinds. Okay, they're going to hard engage this. Too late to stop the boss capture here, but this is still a good fight. Storm Shield used, 20's up. They're still willing to fight into it, but might have been a mistake. They only have 1 chance to defend, and they took it. But unfortunately, they just got there too late. This is going to be GG here in our second game. It looked dire, it looked desperate. The only way to win would have been a team fight, a team wipe. Definitely losing in the macro department. 2 keeps down, and the third one to fall to boss. Can't blame Feliz for this decision, but fighting against 20, it's always going to be difficult.
They were losing the macro. The top pressure was real, and the boss time was super quick. They got the Hanzo, and I think they're gonna go for more as they just finish up the game, as the death timers are super long. Even the boss is on the core now. Game 2 into KSV takes another game. Maybe we're heading into a 3-0 tonight, Wolf.
Well, you know, if you had asked me before if I thought it was going to be a 3-0, I would have said yes.